Hi you all, welcome back to Karen Vibes. Welcome back. Whew, it has been a long time. A lot has happened during that time. And we all know about the storm that happened here in Jamaica. Hurricane Beryl. Some persons were affected badly, especially in Clarendon and St. Elizabeth. Even parts here in St. Anne, because nearly all the banana walk that we had basically went flat. We had a leaking, some of the trees broke in half. There's a bougainvillea one day. I'll take a picture and show you guys. There's a bougainvillea tree out at the front of the house. So it's a big round old bougainvillea tree where we shape it around. And I tell you, I couldn't believe when I came out the Thursday morning and the tree was literally rooted out the ground. That tree has been there since I was a child. Alright, I'm in my 40s now and that tree has been there since I was a baby. Could not believe it. Even part of the big pimento tree we have in the yard there, piece of it break literally in half and landed on the front step. So yeah, it was some serious. I don't know which one to compare. Gilbert. I did experience Gilbert. Gilbert, we had lost part of the roof. No, part of the roof over the other house went straight off. Yeah, that was Gilbert was a difficult time. But this burial that passed the other day, a lot of persons had it rough. Some of us haven't gotten back lights, some have gotten back lights, so some persons still haven't got back electricity or water or the internet and stuff. So with all said and done, we have to be thankful. We have to be thankful. It could be worse. As my mantra always say, it could be worse. It could have worse. So let us give thanks. I pray that those who were badly affected, that you eventually get on your feet. And you'll little by little pick up the pieces. And you'll get the help that you need. So, welcome back to Karen Vibes, reading for the mature audience. If you need to check out my page, it's on YouTube. So it's KarenVibes with an exclamation sign. So it's Karen Vibes and it's reading for the mature audience. So if you have been following me, you've seen all the stories that I've read and you will continue to follow me and see where I left off. And if you are new, you can just visit my page and join, listen, and see what's going on. So welcome back, folks. Welcome back. I pray that you all are well. Alright, so without further ado, I'll reintroduce my book. So the name of the book I'm reading is Flowers in the Attic by Virginia Sinclair. And it's narrated by me, Karen Weir. Alright, so we're just gonna go right into where we left off the last time. So we had stopped at where she took the children in the middle of the night to this house where her parents are. This is the mother of these children. So they're at the grandparents' house now. And so this is way in the night. And they silently go up these stairs and now they're in the attic. And the grandmother now is speaking to them. So let's just pick up from there. So you can just go on my page if you haven't been following and just follow from there. Alright, so let's go. So this is so the last part we read. So we're still at part 6. So the last part we read is where the mother is saying, just as you said, Corinne, your children are beautiful. There she was, paying us a compliment. So this is a daughter. So we're narrating from the daughter's point of view. Daughter is giving her thoughts, her older daughter. There she was, paying us a compliment that should warm our hearts, but it chilled mine. Her voice was cold and uncaring, as if we were without ears to hear and without minds to comprehend her displeasure. Despite her flattery, and I was right to judge her so. Her next words Her next words prove that. But are you sure they are intelligent? Do they have some invisible affliction not apparent to the eyes? Mother! Mother! Cried our mother, taking offense as I did. My children are perfect, as you can plainly see, physically and mentally. She glared at that old woman in grey before she squatted down on her heels and began to undress Carrie, who was nodding on her feet. I knelt before Corey and unbuttoned his small blue jacket as Christopher lifted one of the suitcases up on one of the big beds. He opened it and took out 2 pairs of small yellow pajamas with feet. Furtively, as I helped Chloe off with his clothes and into his yellow pajamas, I studied that tall, big woman who was, I presumed our grandmother. As I looked at her, over seeking wrinkles and heavy jewels, I found out she was not as old as I had at first presumed. Her hair was a strong steel blue color, drawn back from her face in a severe style which made her eyes appear somewhat long and cat-like. Why, you could even see how each strand of her hair pulled her skin up in little resentful hills. And even as I watched, I saw one hair spring free from its moorings. Her nose was an eagle's beak. Her shoulders were wide and her mouth was like a thin, crooked knife slash. My goodness, what a way to describe someone. Her dress, a grey taffeta, had a diamond brooch on the throat of a high, severe neckline. Nothing about her appeared soft or yielding. Even her bosom looked like twin hills of concrete. There would be no funning with her, as we had played with our mother and father. I didn't like her. I wanted to go home. My lips quivered. I wanted Daddy alive again. How could such a woman as this make someone as lovely and sweet as our mother? From whom had our mother inherited her beauty, her gaiety? I shivered and tried to forbid those tears that welled in my eyes. Mummy had prepared us in advance for the unloving, uncaring, unrelenting grandfather. But the grandmother who had arranged for our coming, she came as astonishing surprise. She came as a harsh, astonishing surprise. I blinked back my tears. Fearful Christopher would see them and mock me later. But to reassure me, there was our mother smiling warmly. She lifted a pajamed Corey into one of the big beds, and then she put Carrie in beside him. Oh, how they did look, sweet lying there, like big rosy-cheeked dolls. Mother leaned over the twins and pressed kisses on their flushed cheeks, and her hand tenderly brushed back the curls on their foreheads, and then she tucked the covers high under their chins. "Good night, my darlings," she whispered in the loving voice we knew so well. The twins didn't hear. Already they were deeply asleep. However, standing firmly as a rooted tree, the grandmother was obviously displeased as she gazed upon the twins in one bed. Then over to where Christopher and I were huddled close together. We were tired and half supporting each other. Strong disapproval glinted in her gray-stoned eyes. She wore a fixed, piercing scowl that Mummy seemed to understand, although I did not. Mummy's face flushed as the grandmother said, "Your two older children cannot sleep in one bed." "They're only children, Mummy. They're only children." Mummy flared back with unusual fire. "Mother, you haven't changed one bit, have you? You still have a nasty, suspicious mind. Christopher and Kathy are innocent." "Innocent? Innocent?" she snapped. Her mean look so sharp it could cut and draw blood. "That is exactly what your father and I always presumed about you and your half-uncle." I looked from one to the other, my eyes wide. I glanced at my brother. Years seemed to melt from him, and he stood there vulnerable, helpless as a child of 6 or 7, no more comprehending than I. A tempest of hot anger made our mother's ruddy color depart. "If you think like that, then give them separate rooms and separate beds. Lord knows how this house has enough of them." "That is impossible," the grandmother said in her fire-iced voice. "This is the only bedroom with its own adjoining bath, and where my husband won't hear them walking overhead or flushing the toilet. If they are separated and scattered about all over upstairs, he will hear their voices, or their noise, or the servants will. Now I have given you this arrangement a great deal of thought. This is the only safe room." Safe room? We were going to sleep, all of us, in only one room? In a grand rich house with 20, 30, 40 rooms? We were going to stay in one room? Even so, now that I gave it more thought, I didn't want to be in a room alone in this mammoth house. "But put the two girls in one bed and the two boys in the other," the grandmother ordered. Mommy lifted Corey and put him in the remaining double bed, thus casually establishing the way it was to be from then on. The boys in the bed nearest the bathroom door, and Carrie and I in the bed nearest the windows. The old woman turned her gaze on me and then on Christopher. "Now hear this," she began like a drill sergeant. "It will be up to you two older children to keep the younger ones quiet, and you two will be responsible. If they break even one of the rules, I lay down." Just a second, guys. Just give me a minute. Let me pause. I thought I heard someone opening the garage. Right, where were we? So the grandmother is giving the older ones the rules. "So it will be up to you two older children to keep the younger ones quiet, and you two will be responsible if they break even one of the rules," I lay down. "Keep this always in your mind. If your grandfather learns too soon you are up here, then he will throw all of you out without one red penny, after he has severely punished you for being alive." Oh my goodness, can you imagine telling children this? "And you will keep this room clean, neat, tidy, and the bathroom too, just as if no one lived here. And you will be quiet. You will not yell or cry or run about to pound on the ceilings below. When your mother and I leave this room tonight, I will close and lock the door behind me, for I will not have you roaming from room to room and into the other sections of this house. Until the day your grandfather dies, you are here." Wow. You don't but you don't really exist. Oh God, oh God. My eyes flashed to Mommy. This couldn't be true. She was lying. Wasn't she? Saying mean things just to scare us. I drew closer to Christopher, pressing against his side. Gone cold and shaky. The grandmother scowled and quickly I stepped away. I tried to look at Mommy, but she had turned her back and her head was lowered. But her shoulders sagged and quivered as if she were crying. Panic filled me and I would have screamed out something if Mommy hadn't turned then and sat down on a bed and stretched out her arms to Christopher and me. We ran to her. We ran to her, grateful for her arms and let me read this again. If Mommy hadn't turned then and sat down on a bed and stretched out her arms to Christopher and me, we ran to her, grateful for her arms that drew us close, and her hands that stroked our hair and backs and smoothed down our wind-rumpled hair. It's all right. It's all right, she whispered. Trust me. One night only will you be in here, and my father will welcome you into his home, to use it as you would your own. All of it, every room, and the gardens too. Then she glared up at her mother, so tall, so stern, so forbidding. Mother, have some pity and compassion for my children. They are of your flesh and blood too. Keep that in your mind. They are very good children, but they are also normal children, and they need room to play, run, and make noise. Do you expect them to speak in whispers? You don't have to lock the door to this room. You can lock the door at the end of the hall. Now, why can't they have all the rooms of this north wing to use as their very own? I know you never cared for this older section very much. The grandmother shook her head vigorously. Corinne, I make the rules. I make the decisions here, not you. Do you think I can just close and lock the door to this wing and the servants won't wonder why? Everything must stay just as it was. They understand why. They understand why I keep this particular room locked. For the stairway to the attic is in here, and I don't like for them to snoop around where they don't belong. Very early in the morning, I will bring the children food and milk before the cook and the maids enter the kitchen. This north wing is never entered except on the last Friday of each month, when it is thoroughly cleaned. On those days, the children will hide in the attic until the maids are finished. And we will stop right there. So we'll stop right there for today, folks. So when we come back, we're in suspense. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. This is a picture that was in the book. This is a picture of the 4 children. Children in the attic. So this is a picture of the 4 children. So we're in suspense and we'll see what happens. I think this is more like a picture of the father. Father who died, like he's protecting them. Yeah, really sad story. But when we come back, we will pick up and carry on. So as usual, folks, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me today. Hope you all have a productive Monday evening. I'm gonna go down to Minard now to plant some flowers. I was down there planting flowers yesterday, and I'm gonna bring some roses down and those plants. So one day I'm gonna give you guys a tour and show you what's going on very soon. I'm gonna plant some those flowers are called snake plants. When I come back on, I'll show you a picture of what I'm talking. Or I'll take a picture and post it onto the page. Most of you probably know what they call snake plants. I'm gonna carry some down And I'm going to carry some roses to plant now, and then I'm going to go water the plants there, and I'll be back, come back. So that's what I'm going to go do now. So thank you all. Thank you. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share. Please leave a comment. Tell me what you like about the reading and improvements that I can do. So you have to please subscribe. So once you subscribe, the more people subscribe, I'll be able to go live on YouTube. But I'm getting there, and I'm grateful for all my other subscribers. So I'm getting there. Alright guys, peace out. Remember to go on YouTube, Karen Vibes, KarenVibes, and that's with an exclamation sign, reading for the mature audience, and you can follow all the readings I've done so far. Alright, so peace out guys, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.